Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Zeenigami, and this is a special episode of our video today. It's a fanfiction written to us by TheShadyLamp. It's called Zeenigami and Akainu, A Burning Passion. Strap yourselves in, boys. We're in for some chop. Chapter 1. The day my heart went up in flames. The wind blew harshly through the battlefield known as Marineford. The Whitebeard pirates were staging an attack on the marine base to rescue one of their own, Portuguese D. Ace. Our story, however, does focus on this battle. It focuses on the burning heart of a man named Zeenigami, a local of Marineford, who had been relocated to the Shabody archipelago while the intense battle was taking place. Zeenigami stood in the large crowd watching the battle at Marineford unfold. He watched, dumbfounded. The only place he truly called home was being destroyed. What will I return to after this? Zeenigami thought. These events were occurring before Zeenigami's eyes gave him 99 turns of despair. Hours passed, yet the battle still rages on. Zeenigami's home becoming more and more destroyed as the seconds go by. Zeenigami had become so overcome by grief, he thought, is anything worth it anymore? Then it happened. He saw him. That red suit, that white marine cap on his head, that fist. Zeenigami had instantly forgotten about his oppression as that man made a pirate into a donut. Who was this man? The answer was obvious. That man was a world-famous marine admiral, Akainu. Zeenigami's heartbeat sped up. He thought to himself, Nani? What is this feeling in my chest? Akainu, just like that pirate, he has stolen my heart. It happened over the span of a few seconds, but that's all it took for Zeenigami to find the love of his life. Chapter 2. A Chance Encounter. A week had passed since the grand battle at Marineford. Everyone in the streets of Shabody archipelago cheered and celebrated the victory of the Marines. Everybody except Zeenigami, who stayed in his room. Zeenigami laid on his bed, staring at the ceiling. He whispered to himself, Akainu, I can't stop thinking about you. I can't stop thinking about that flaming fist of yours. I can't stop thinking. Oh no, I read that one. Zeenigami stands up and walks over to the window and pushes it open. He sighs as he sees the celebration. Down in the crowd, someone yells out, Did you hear? The Marine Admirals are coming to visit the island tomorrow! People cheered in response. Zeenigami gasped as he heard this. He begins to sweat. He thought to himself, The Admirals? They're coming here? Does that mean I can meet him? Akainu? Just as quickly as Zeenigami's love for Akainu bloomed, the next day arrived. Down the main street of Shabody came the Marine Admirals, Aokiji and Kizaru. The citizens cheered as they walked by. Zeenigami, who was in the front row of the crowd, looked around frantically. He thought of himself, Akainu? Where's Akainu? The Admirals walked past. Akainu nowhere in sight. A single tear formed in Zeenigami's eye. He turned around, defeated, and walks out of the crowd. Zeenigami walks into an alleyway. He lets out a long sigh and sat down. He placed his hands on his head and thought to himself, Why? Why isn't my magma daddy here today? Suddenly, an unfamiliar voice spoke. What are you doing here, citizen? Zeenigami said, No reason. I'm just not... Zeenigami looked up at the person. He stopped speaking. He continues, It can't be. Standing before Zeenigami was none other than the Marine Admiral Akainu. Akainu spoke, Citizen, how strong is your sense of justice? Zeenigami attempted to speak. It's He took a deep breath and said, My sense of justice is strong, sir. Just as strong as yours. A small smile formed on Akainu's face as he said, That's good to hear. The Marines need more strong-willed men like you. Now then, I must be going. Akainu begins to walk away. Zeenigami thinks to himself, This is my one chance. I can't let it slip through my fingers. He yells out to Akainu, Wait! The Admiral turns around and asks, "What is it?" Zeenigami says, "I was so moved by what you did at Marineford. Will you let me treat you to a drink later?" Akainu looked shocked. He then tipped his hat toward Zeenigami and said, "Sure, I've been meaning to get a drink soon anyways. Meet me at the bar across the street at 9 p.m. tonight." Akainu turned and walked away out of the alley. Zeenigami stood motionless. He couldn't believe what had just happened. He was going to go on a date with the man of his dreams, Akainu. Chapter 3. Cracking open a hot mon with a Marine Admiral. The clock struck 9. Zeenigami sat at the bar, shaking. He begins to think, is he actually going to show up? I mean, he's an admiral. He might be busy. I wouldn't blame him if he didn't show up. A voice calls out behind Zeenigami. "Is this seat taken?" It was Akainu. Zeenigami, in a nervous voice, says, "Not at all. Take a seat." Akainu sits down in a chair. He instantly calls out, "Bartender, get me and my friend over here a couple of cold ones." The bartender calls out, "Right away, sir." The two sit in awkward silence for a while. Akainu breaks the silence. "I just realized I don't even know your name." "It's Zeenigami. Zeenigami Namigami." "That's my full name," Zeenigami says nervously. Zeenigami thinks to himself, "He likes me. He really likes me." The bartender sets a large glass of beer in front of Zeenigami and Akainu. Zeenigami grabs his glass and lifts it to his mouth. Akainu grabs Zeenigami's arm and says, "Hold it." Zeenigami, surprised, says, "What? What is it?" Akainu grabs the drink out of Zeenigami's hand and sets it in front of him. Akainu dips his finger in the drink. Akainu's finger turns into magma. The drink begins to bubble from the heat. Akainu passes the drink back over to Zeenigami and says, "There you go, friend. That's a special touch I always add to my beer. My special sauce." Zeenigami looks at the drink with a skeptical eye. Not doubting the man he loves, he took a sip of the drink. The taste was amazing. Zeenigami was overtaken by the delicious beer that Akainu had created. Editor's note. Imagine one of those reactions from Shokugeki. That was Zeenigami's reaction. Akainu asks, "You like it?" Zeenigami says, "Yes, I love it, just like I love you." Zeenigami froze. What did he say? What did he just confess to his love? Akainu? Chapter 4. And thus the burning relationship full of passion was born. Akainu's face was as red as Zeenigami's face was as red as Akainu's suit. Zeenigami tried to fix his mistake. I meant I love your beer." Akainu puts a finger to Zeenigami's lips. He spoke in a quiet voice. "Shh. I understand. There's a lot to love about me. My absolute justice. My strength. My power. And my absolute justice. I don't blame you for falling in love with all that." Zeenigami, still flustered, says, "Really? You're okay with it?" "Of course I am," said Akainu. "Do you return my feelings?" Zeenigami took a chance with his question. Akainu thought to himself for a moment, and he explains, "I wouldn't necessarily say that I love you, but I can say I'm willing to give it a chance." Zeenigami gasped. He couldn't believe his ears. The Marine Admiral, the man of his dreams, Akainu, had just said he was willing to give him a chance. Zeenigami spoke, "I can't believe this. This is too good to be true." Akainu placed his hand on Zeenigami's shoulder and said, "How about we take this back to your place?" Zeenigami shook his head in agreement. Akainu slapped a pile of berries down on the bar counter. The two of them left the bar. A night of excitement was awaiting them. Chapter 5. The Burning Fist of a Man. Zeenigami opened the door to his apartment. He turned on the lights as he walked in. "Here we are. This is my home." Akainu looked around the small apartment. Once he finished examining, he said, "It's small, but has a nice feel to it." That's not the first time he's gonna say this tonight. Just saying. "Thanks, I've only lived here for about a week," explained Zeenigami. "This may be quick, but Oh, I'm sorry. This may be quick, but where's your bedroom at? Asked Akainu. Zeenigami became flustered. He began to walk towards his bedroom. Follow me, it's this way. Zeenigami sat in the bed, waiting. Akainu told Zeenigami that he had a surprise for him. Zeenigami thought, a surprise? What could he have meant? Is he throwing me a party? I don't know what to expect. The door from the bathroom swung open. Zeenigami's jaw dropped as he saw Akainu walk out of the bathroom. Akainu was wearing nothing but his underwear. An underwear that said, Absolute Justice, written on the back. Can we see the back or can we see the front of him? Akainu leaned up against the door and said, Zeenigami, are you ready for my surprise? Zeenigami smiled. It was happening. Unknown to Akainu, Zeenigami had given up everything for this to happen. A flashback to a week in the past. What do you mean, you're leaving me? Asked Janice, shocked. Zeenigami said, I'm sorry, Janice. It just doesn't feel the same way anymore. My heart has moved on to someone else. Janice, who is now tearing up, asked, Who is it? Who's the woman that's stealing away my husband? There is no woman. They are no woman. They are a man who has filled my heart with flames, expressed Zeenigami. I see. I guess it's it then. I'm taking Blaze and everything else in the apartment, said Janice. That's fine. All I need to live is my flaming fister, spoke Zeenigami. Janice picked up Blaze and stormed out of the room. Zeenigami had no regrets. Whoosh! Back to the present. Zeenigami was on all fours on the bed. Akainu was behind him. Akainu asked, Are you prepared to be fisted like a pirate? Zeenigami nodded his head and said, Yes, please, fist me into oblivion. Akainu's fist erupted into flames. He drew his fist back and yelled out, Feel my magma flow through you. Akainu's fist tore into Zeenigami's behind. Zeenigami moaned. A moan full of pleasure and pain, but mostly pain because a fucking fiery fist was going up his ass. Akainu puts his fist in deeper. Zeenigami's pleasure was boosted by 2.25 times. Akainu yelled out, Die, pirate scum! Zeenigami's pleasure was boosted by an additional 1.75 times. Akainu yanked out his fist as Zeenigami took in heavy breaths. Akainu spoke, Was that too much, or are you ready for more? Zeenigami nodded and moaned, Yes, you're the only captain I need. Akainu didn't hesitate. He drove his fist back into Zeenigami's butt. Zeenigami gritted his teeth as the molten fist cooked his insides. It was as if Akainu was boosting the pleasure of a man with above 50 cost by 1.75 times. And Zeenigami had over 50 cost. Akainu pulled his fist out and shot it back in. He did this over and over again. Each time, Zeenigami got closer to the breaking point. With one last push, Zeenigami's entire body was taken over by Akainu's burning fists of passion. And Akainu released his own form of passion. Covered the bed. Chapter 4. A flashy assault, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark. The sun pierced the window to Zeenigami's room. Zeenigami and Akainu slept peacefully in bed together. Zeenigami's eyes fluttered open. He looked over at Akainu and smiled. Zeenigami got out of bed, slowly, trying not to wake Akainu. He walked over to the kitchen and thought to himself, I think I'm gonna make Akainu some breakfast. It'll be a thanks for last night. Zeenigami opened the fridge and was shocked to see there was no food. He thought to himself, oh yeah, Janice took everything, didn't she? I guess I'll just have to go and get some food from the store. Zeenigami walked down the street, joyfully humming as he went on his way. He got into an alleyway and thought to himself, if I take this path, I can get to the store quicker. He began to walk down the alleyway. Zeenigami felt a presence nearby. He turned and looked behind him. He spoke out, Is anyone there? In response, there was nothing. Zeenigami wiped the sweat off his forehead and said, Man, this alleyway sure is creepy. He turned around, began to walk forward again, but he stopped by a man standing in front of him. Zeenigami let out a frightened scream and said, Who are you? The man standing in front of Zeenigami had light blue hair, a pirate hat on his head, and a shining red nose. The man let out a sinister laugh and said, It is I, the glorious pirate, Buggy the Clown! Zeenigami gasped. Buggy leapt forward and tackled Zeenigami to the ground. Zeenigami attempted to fight back against Buggy, but Buggy's 1.5 times attack boost was too much for Zeenigami. He yells out, What are you doing, fiend? Buggy responds with, I am spreading the flashy name of Buggy the Clown, and what better way to spread the name than through the news? Zeenigami asked, does that mean you're going to do something to me that's going to get you the news? An evil smile appeared across Buggy's face, and he nodded his head. Zeenigami thought to himself, oh no, whatever will I do? Oh man, if only Akainu were here to save me. The alleyway was flooded with lights as a large ball of magma shot through it and hit Buggy. Buggy was sent flying backwards. He lit ablaze as the magma ball hit him. Zeenigami, shocked, got up and saw Buggy run away while covered in flames. He thought to himself, it can't be. A voice behind Zeenigami said, are you okay? Zeenigami turned, standing before him like the day they first met was Akainu. He began to tear up as he saw the Marine Admiral. Zeenigami ran to Akainu and embraced him with a hug. He shouted, thank you so much, Akainu. Akainu smiled. I was worried when I couldn't find you when I woke up. I went to look for you. That's when I heard your screams and knew something was wrong. Zeenigami let go of Akainu. He thought to himself, I am so lucky to have met such an amazing guy. Suddenly, Akainu got down on one knee and spoke, Zeenigami, I know we have only known each other for a short while, but during this short while a flame was ignited within me. Akainu grabbed a small box out of his red shirt pocket. He opened it, revealing a ring. Zeenigami, will you marry me? With a tear in his eye, Zeenigami said, of course. Chapter 7. The Wedding. It was finally that day. It was finally the day of Zeenigami's wedding. The wedding was taking place on a marine battleship. At the altar stood Zeenigami in a fabulous black tux. The crowd was full of Marines. In the front row sat Admiral Aokiji and Kizaru. Zeenigami was nervous. He thought to himself, this is it. This is the big moment. Whenever I first saw him, I could have never thought when I was going to marry him. Music began to play. The doors swung open. Through it came Akainu in a white suit. He began to walk down the aisle. Everyone turned and watched as Akainu strutted his way across the deck of the battleship. Akainu made it up to altar. He stood face to face with Zeenigami. Dude, that guy's way taller than I am. Sengoku, the pastor of the wedding, spoke. Today we are gathered to unite these two men of absolute justice, Akainu and Zeenigami. A chance meeting brought these two together, and now here they are, getting married. Everyone in the crowd cheered. Sengoku looked over at Akainu and says, Akainu, do you take this man to be your husband? Akainu says, I do. Sengoku looked at Zeenigami and asked, Zeenigami, do you take this man to be your husband? Zeenigami said, I do. Sengoku finished with, you may now kiss. Akainu leaned in and kissed Zeenigami. The crowd erupted into applause and cheers. You are now husbands, spoke Sengoku. Akainu looked Zeenigami in the eyes and said, looks like it's finally official. It seems so, said Zeenigami. The two kissed once more, this kiss being one full of a burning passion. The end. Whew. Now, I'm not saying that was good or anything. But I am saying it's pretty hot. It's pretty hot. Fiery passion. Thanks to TheShadyLamp for writing this. I've been Zeenigami. It's extra spicy.